back, true believers. It is another edition of I Didn't Know That. Brought to you by Stouffer Mortgage. I am Karaoke Bob. We'll be joined shortly here by Mike Stouffer. And Why Spiders Are Our Friends, presented by Dr. Matt Bertone. So we'll have a night full of web slingers. That's why I said true believers, because that was a Stan Lee thing, and he invented Spider-Man. I think you know what I mean, Mike. Right?
I do know what you mean, Bob.
Yeah. So, Mike Stouffer, welcome to the program. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Bob.
Hey, it is terrific to be seen.
Especially on a wintry day in northeastern Ohio.
Yeah, I tell you what, if it's going to snow, I want it to be debilitating like this.
Bob, you're all about the timing, and who's that guitar player? That guy was laying down some riffs on that song. I mean, that's phenomenal guitar playing.
The last note was a little out of key.
The last one?
If I critique the last bend up was kind of atonal.
Well, that's kind of fit the music, doesn't it?
It does.
Because the rhythm player was horrific. Who was that guy on rhythm guitar?
I think that probably the same guy. Same guy that made
same
that
guy,
Utley,
same guy that was bending out of tune. Okay, yeah. But Mr. Jensen was very good on the drums there, by the way.
Yeah, Mr. Jensen, very good on the drums.
Right.
Big Dave in the house, as he stated.
Big Dave is here. Excellent. Good to see him. He's an excellent drummer, by the way, just in case you're ever in need of a drummer. He does a fantastic job.
We've got the... do you play bass, Mike?
I'm not playing. I'm not going to be a second-tier guy. Next, you're going to be asking me to play drums.
No, I'm saying, like, if we're going to put together the I Didn't Know That band, that we should probably... Like, I'm just asking, like, if you don't want to play bass, I'll play bass. You can play guitar. That's fine.
All right. Well, I'll think about it.
I will overdub all the guitar solos in post. No big deal.
I'll have to build up my calluses before we can do this. Sure. We'll have to write the song first, which I'm sure you'll write in a fashion that I'll never be able to play. Anyways.
I don't even know if I can write anymore. It's been so long.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, Bob, it's good to see you. What are you drinking there? Is that Jared Gray approved wine, or are you drinking bourbon? What is that?
This is a mead. So
what?
A mead.
Okay.
You remember there was one of those early Bud Light commercials where they had the knights and the... and then the castle and the whole like medieval themed Bud Light commercial. Or what was Dilly Dilly, the Dilly Dilly commercials, Dilly Dilly, and some guy like ordered a mead, and then they took him and I think they cut his head off or something like that for ordering a mead when there was all this Bud Light going around. So that's what this is, and what a mead is it is made in a similar process to wine, but instead of grapes, it's honey is what does it.
Okay, well, in addition to Dr. Matt Bertone, who is going to talk to us about spiders and other insects, we have Jared Gray, who's going to finish up on the Boer War.
Excellent.
Because he's got some remnants of last week's show he'd like to finish up.
Okay.
And we have Mark Seibert, who's going to talk about things lost in translation. Much like the pictures that he sent us to upload and our show graphic,
right,
and all of that. So much like tonight's show. But how about, without further ado, we bring on Dr. Matt Bertone, who is an entomologist with the North Carolina State University Plant Disease and Insect Clinic. Good evening, Matt. How are you?
Good. How are you all?
Great. It is great to see you. Thank you for staying with us this evening.
I admire your beard.
Oh, thank you.
I had a tremendous one that I shaved. It was very similar. And it was very similar in stature beard. And I actually sacrificed it for this show.
Oh, well, you look good.
I did. Yeah.
He did, Matt. He wanted to be Neil Sean for our Journey, a 1970s Neil Sean.
1977 Neil Sean. So I had a big fro,
Journey,
with the mustache like that, and the
mustache.
little patch.
Yes, so he shaved his beard for that.
What I wasn't able to do is take off the 100-pound difference between me and 1977 Neil Sean, but hey, we'll work on it.
Are you planning on regrowing the beard?
I mean, this is what's going on so far. I don't know. I kind of like this length. It's, it's manageable. It doesn't itch. Not the other one itched anymore. It's like, so I resisted growing a glorious beard for a long time because I could never get past that phase where it itched. Now, after having the glorious beard, it doesn't matter what phase of beardness it is, it doesn't itch anymore. So I could do whatever I want with it.
So we're going to talk spiders now, Bob, if that's okay with you.
I'm trying to avoid it at all costs. No offense, Matt, but
well, this is why we have Matt on and why we have the show. I didn't know that because Bob, you've been telling me that you've been going around your house stomping on every spider you can because you've got this king complex.
You're just making crap up now.
I'm not.
I do not like them, but I try and preserve them because I know they're good for the house.
Oh,
so
okay.
I try and remove the spider and take it somewhere else. But they don't ever. One actually during the show, you would have never known it. It was crawling on it came out of the rafters in here and was crawling on my shirt. And I didn't panic.
So we're going to give Matt a chance to talk and tell us why.
Yeah. Sorry, Matt.
He's going to tell us why we should embrace our, how many-legged friend are they, Matt? Spiders?
8.
8-legged friends.
Walking legs. They have
8 walking legs.
Yeah. They got 2 special legs in the front for other things.
This is going to be so much fun. All right, go ahead.
What kind of things?
For
eating or?
In the females, it's kind of used for helping manipulate food, but in the males, they're actually modified to deliver the sperm.
Of course it is. That's what I would use them for.
So we were talking about, whether it's a boy or a girl spider, and boy spiders, when they're adult boy spiders, are pretty easy to tell because look like they have boxing gloves near their mouth.
By their mouth. So it's a wonder they ever leave the web, Matt.
Why our spiders are, well, first of all, so let's just talk about just the spider and why we should not smush them. And then we're going to get into why you were on your hands and knees in 50 homes across North Carolina and all the other frightening things you found that I was reading about. But so why should we befriend the spider?
Well, so, I don't think you need to necessarily be friends, but I definitely think you should respect them and not squash them. So, there's a it's a spectrum. You don't have to, be letting them crawl all over you and whatnot, but you can also not kill them. They're also organisms in their own right. And, just because I think they're often thought of as these things that want to get you, that want to bite you, that want to attack you. But that's furthest from the truth. They are, hanging out. They are doing their thing. They do not care about us, except for the fact that we do like to stomp them. Other people, not me, of course. But, I think they're just, they get a bad rap. Really.
And is this a Hollywood bad rap, or is it just because they're just scary? Are they just scary to look at and they're bad?
I think there's part of our brains does think they're scary. There is some reason evolutionarily for us to be scared of them. They can bite. The big ones have venom, and some are actually can be dangerous. But the problem is that's, most of them are not dangerous. And actually, they're very helpful in eating pests and things like that. So they help keep a lot of pests down in agriculture and in homes. If you leave them alone, their chances are they're going to eat something that you also don't want in the house, especially things that can actually harm you. So
what are they feeding on inside the house that is harmful to us humans?
So the thing about spiders is they're generalist predators. So they're going to eat anything that they can catch and that they enjoy to eat. So it's kind of random, whatever kind of walks by and gets caught in the web or whatever they're running around and encounter, they can tackle, they'll eat. But things like cockroaches, flies, probably even bed bugs and certain, biting insects, things like that, So yeah, they'll catch whatever they can.
I always see them kind of hanging out alone in their web, though. I mean, I very rarely. Are there a lot of things that they're catching and eating that we can't see?
So they are they have a very slow metabolism, so they don't really need to eat very often. In fact, some spiders can go a year without eating.
Wow.
But they just sit there in the web waiting and waiting and waiting for prey to come along, and if it's big enough prey, it can feed them for a while. And what they do is they're actually fairly clean animals too, so they will get rid of the prey once it's done. So they'll clip it from their web, they'll move it out of the way, things like that. But if you look, if you see a spider with a web, look on the floor below it, and you may see some of the old items that they've eaten.
So so we have to clean up after them, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
they're clean for themselves, but not so much us. Now, from what I understand too, and I think it might, and I could be wrong because I learned this by reading Charlotte's Web, and I think after reading that, I think I probably was more tolerant of spiders. But they don't actually eat their prey, right? They take like the blood, the juices, right?
Yeah, so they don't actually eat solid food. They can't eat solid food. So that's why they have venom, partly. So the venom actually acts in three ways. The first way is to immobilize the prey. The second way is to digest it. And then the other use of venom is, of course, in defense, because they can. And so, yeah, they actually will oftentimes either crush up the prey or just completely dissolve the insides and suck it out. But basically what's left is a husk of an insect or ball of kind of insect bits, and they've filled up on the liquids.
So how long do spiders live? I mean, as a general house spider, how long do they live?
So general house spider could probably live a few years.
Okay.
The longest living spider known was just found out a couple years ago. A woman in Australia was monitoring trapdoor spiders on her property, and she gave them all little numbers, little sticks outside their home. And there was one, they never leave their tunnel ever, the females, once they're grown. And so she had been watching this one for over 40 years, and it died when it was about 43 years old.
Wow.
That's incredible.
So yeah, and tarantulas even regularly live 20 years, no problem.
Yeah. Now, are tarantulas in the spider family?
They're a type of spider. They're one of the more primitive type of spiders. They're kind of more what the original types of spiders look like. In fact, there's one in Asia, a group of them in Asia, that's the most primitive type of spider. It still has kind of segments in its abdomen. It's very spiny and crazy looking. And it's also a trapdoor spider. They build tunnels and they wait for prey to come by and grab it. So, yeah.
So what made you want to make this your expertise, or the insects and bugs and spiders? How did that happen for you?
I have no idea, but ever since I was young, it was just
really.
I always liked the creepy things, monster movies, and spiders, and all just the forms of different insects and spiders, and how you can have millions of different species out there, all looking different, doing different things, and just once you get up close and watch them and learn about them, you find out they're much more interesting than they are horrifying.
And I like that you brought up like the Asian types of bugs and spiders, which we're starting to see some invasive species that are coming into our country through containers and planes, and they hop, they find ways to travel and then disrupt our ecosystem. But they have a very, you could tell from an evolutionary standpoint that they're very different from the insects that we're used to, which I'm sure our insects look exotic to them. But it's interesting because it almost looks like, for instance, stink bugs. It looks like they could have been manufactured by Toyota. I mean, they're very they're very anime looking. That makes it any sense. And there's this new moth that I just saw recently that they found in the Ohio River Valley, and it's very beautiful. It's has a lot of different stripes and decorations on it. I can't remember what it was called, but of course,
spotted lanternfly.
The spotted lanternfly, exactly right. Yeah. See, Matt, that's why I can do that. Oh, and then of course, the emerald ash borer, which I have well, I don't have many ash trees left now, but finally saw the first emerald ash borer. I've heard of them but not seen them. It's same deal. It almost looks like, and it like played dead in my house, and you could pick it up. I almost thought it was made of metal the way it looked. I thought it was like some weird toy, and then it got up and started walking around. I was like, oh my God, what is this?
Yep.
What did you do with it?
I put it outside because I didn't know what it was. Had I known that it was an emerald ash borer, I
would have go 500 miles and released it.
I would have. Yeah, Matt, I would have driven 500 miles and released it.
Didn't they write a song about that? I would walk 500 miles.
I would have euthanized it very peacefully. Is what I would have done with it.
Well, I've euthanized quite a few insects in my life, so. But
yeah.
No, some of those exotic insects and groups are really beautiful, but of course, if they're doing bad things, then we don't want them. So.
Well, yeah, and it's not even their fault that they're doing bad things. In their own ecosystem, they're a part of that cycle. They're not, they're doing what they're supposed to, and then, they come to an ecosystem like ours. It doesn't have a natural predator, or it doesn't, and then it can, take out, it's pretty much wiping out an entire species of tree up here, and that's just from commerce, basically.
Yep. Yeah. And that's part of what we do too as entomologists, and I do. I identify things that come into the state or into the country sometimes, and if it's suspected of being new, if I can ID it quickly, they can maybe go out and eradicate it before it gets established.
So what's been coming into our country that you're able to talk about?
Oh, there's lots of things. There's just even some spiders. But since spiders are general predators, they're not much of an issue to agriculture or things like that. But there are, the spotted lanternfly and emerald ash borer are really famous ones. Asian longhorn beetle, all of which are really beautiful but devastating. But since I've been working in our clinic, we've had about a dozen new species to North Carolina alone, and some of them feeding on plants and doing bad things, but others kind of just there.
Are there invasive species? Mike made a good point. Miraculously, when he asked you, are there ones you could talk about? Are there ones that you're not allowed to talk about?
No, not right now.
So that is a thing. Like, okay, we found this new bug, Matt, but you can't tell anybody about it right now because we don't want people to freak out.
Yeah, in certain ways, if it's a public health issue, then obviously that freaks people out. The whole Asian giant hornet,
the murder hornet. Yes,
yeah, of course.
What a great name. That wasn't the etymologist's name for it, I assume.
No. We have scientific names for them too. So.
Why do they call it a murder hornet? Is like what?
Because it sells papers. Well, sells internet now.
Right. I was going to say it's like really like it's a murder hornet.
Yeah, and they're big and their sting is pretty potent, but they're not. I wrote an article about it a while ago when people were asking about it when they first saw some videos from the native range, and I looked it up, and actually one of our native wasps has ounce for ounce more potent venom than a murder hornet. But
that's probably wrong because in order for it to be murder, it has to be premeditated, and I'm sure from the hornet standpoint, it's self-defense. So I mean,
that is true.
At worst, it's a manslaughter.
It's manslaughter, manslaughter, yeah. Well, are there any do you take any natural predator? Are there when you get something new that comes in, like the spotted lanternfly? Can you bring in a natural predator? Do you know if there is a natural predator that you can use to mitigate them?
Yeah, so a lot of entomologists study that. I have a friend who is actually researching. They're taking wasps that they think might attack the eggs of spotted lanternfly and exposing them to native insects, bugs that are very closely related, because we don't want to release these things and destroy all the native things too. So that research is really important. In fact, for emerald ash borer, I've done studies with local government, state government people, the Department of Ag here, where they looked for the wasps that parasitize emerald ash borer. and I help them identify them, and we have new records of new parasites that attack them.
And then you have to kind of round up those predators to attack them too, right? That's another job, right?
Yep, figuring out how to mass release them, and what you hope is that growing them in the lab, then when you release them out, that they start self-sustaining. So that's part of it too, is the looking for these wasps again once they're released, and a few wasps have been released for emerald ash borer here in the state.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, back to spiders. They are territorial, correct?
They can be. Some of them can be, but they're kind of loners most of the time. Although
I never see them in groups.
Yeah, there are some social spiders though around the world, even ones that are truly social. So they live in huge webs and hundreds or thousands of them in one giant web, taking down prey together. Everybody's favorite time, I bet. So.
Oh yeah, it sounds so. Everybody's worried about the widow spiders and the recluse spiders. Mm-hmm. How worried should we be?
Not really worried. I wouldn't. It all depends on where you are, where you live, and how careful you are, how many you're around. Really, spiders don't bite aggressively. They bite in defense. So most bites happen when somebody sticks their hand somewhere that they shouldn't, or puts their foot in a shoe that's been sitting outside and a spider is inside. Accidents basically. So spiders don't just come up and bite people. There's no point for that. They get nothing out of it, and obviously they come away worse off in the situation. And deaths from spiders are very, very rare. So it's much more feared than it really is.
And are the deaths from the spiders, is that something that might have already been inherent within that individual that might be allergic per se to that spider, whereas somebody else got bitten by the same spider would probably have no reaction or very little reaction?
It could be. People can be allergic to different venoms, just like bee and hornet venoms, things like that. So that's a potential. Of course, that's your kind of body overreacting. But some spiders, their actual venom can cause death. But it's very few. They've estimated of all the species that 0.5% of all species could actually hurt you in any way.
Wow. Very, very, very minor amount. Bob, why don't you throw up some of these pictures for Matt and let him explain what we've got? Because he's also a photographer, right, Matt? And you photograph these.
These photos are beautiful.
Yeah. I know. The photos are amazing. I was going through your Flickr account. It's amazing.
Subject matter makes your skin crawl a little bit, but we'll start with the green lynx.
Yeah. So that's the first step, is actually, overcoming your fears, to actually face it. Even in pictures first, they're safe. But I definitely recommend people kind of, if they're afraid or if they're willing to at least overcome that fear and, tired of being afraid of spiders, to just kind of hang out with them a little bit, and you'll see how intelligent they are and how they don't want to hurt you, how they actually are very interesting animals. So this is a mother green lynx spider. She's around her egg sac, and she's actually cleaning her foot right there in her mouth. And so this just shows a couple things. First of all, again, like I said, spiders are very clean. They like to clean their legs because they have a lot of sense hairs on there, so that they can sense their environment better. And also another thing is that a lot of spiders are very good mothers as well. So this lynx spider will stay with her egg sac until it's completely hatched and the babies are gone, and she won't even eat that entire time. So she loses a huge percentage of her body weight by staying there and fending off enemies and things like that. There are even some spiders that go the ultimate length, and right before the spiderlings hatch, they will die, and the spiderlings will eat the mother. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Then we have the spitting spider?
Yeah. So this is one of my favorite groups of spiders, and it wasn't until about 10 years ago that I saw my first one. I always read about them in books, but this is the spitting spider, which probably sounds even more horrific, but they're actually very dainty little spiders. Their fangs are very tiny, and these are the only spiders in the world with a second pair of silk glands, and they're in their head. And what they do is the silk glands hook up to the venom glands, and they spray out of their fangs silk faster than you can blink. And what it does is they spray it at their prey and wrap them up. And then when it's safe, they go over and kind of nibble on them and eat them. So they're actually really good at taking down big other spiders. They're close relatives of brown recluses, but they are actually known to hunt brown recluses.
Wow.
And harmless to people, completely harmless to people.
And we got these wars going on in our house, and we don't even know it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and there are a lot of spiders that eat other spiders. In fact, there's one jumping spider that's super intelligent. It actually knows how to attack different spiders using their weakness. So it'll walk up, and if it finds a web spider, it'll pluck the web and pretend it's some prey. And when this other spider comes down, it'll jump on it and kill it. But if it comes to a spider that's more like it, or more of the hunting kind, it'll try and make its way behind the spider where it's more blind, and then jump on it from there. And it uses different tactics for different spiders.
Amazing.
Sounds like Mike to me before these shows start.
Yeah.
Leave me emotionally scarred.
I think Matt knows better now.
So let's take a look at this one here, the dewdrop spider, which I didn't realize that this part here down on its lower left there was actually part of the spider.
Yeah. Oh, and actually, I was just talking about a different spider before, but the spider you put up previously is a different type of spider, an interesting one as well.
Oh, what is this?
That's the spitting spider.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. I went to this one, and then I did I did an about face on you. And
no worries, they're all cool. So the one before, or if you want to talk about this one, it's up to you. This one is a cool one. It's called a dewdrop spider. And that is its abdomen, that big glittery thing. This is a female, and what they do is they're very tiny, even though it's an adult. And what they do is they actually climb up into the webs of other spiders and steal the prey from other spiders. They clip the prey out and take it for their own. So they're called a kleptoparasite. They steal the prey from the other spiders' mouths, kind of.
Wow. And put that other one up, Bob. The one that you glided
one that
over.
I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Let's not. Let's talk about no. Okay, here we go. Sorry.
Yeah. So this is an interesting one. Now most spiders in the world have venom. It's usually potent to their prey. Many of them can't hurt you or anything like that. They also have too small fangs to even do anything. This spider doesn't have venom, though. It's one of the few groups that doesn't have venom. But it's still effective and at killing prey. What it does is when the prey gets caught in the web, they come very quickly, and they cover it in silk so much it's like a trash compactor, and it basically completely binds the prey. And then what they do is they poke holes with their fangs in the prey and then vomit all over it, and then they suck out the fluid.
Wow, that's awesome.
That is charming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Yeah.
So yeah, and you can see why I like them. I mean, it looks kind of like a little dead leaf, but it's also really kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, that is really good. You got your PhD studying flies?
Yes. Yeah. Another great group. That
and we're pretty much out of time. Matt, I would love to have you come back and talk about flies. I mean, if you would be interested. I mean,
I would
love to have you back on it, because this is just, I mean, you only talked about really 4 spiders. We should have just let him do all the spiders that he knows and just tell these cool stories about them.
I do want to know how to protect myself from dive bombing horse flies and deer flies when I'm
that's tough.
skimming the pool.
Terrible.
Change your diet, Bob. Change your diet. Stop eating hot dogs.
I don't eat hot dogs. I really don't. I probably have 1 hot dog a year.
Wait, Matt was going to say, wear what?
Wear light colored clothing.
I'm not usually
really
not wearing any clothing at all, Matt. I'm in the swimming pool.
Well, it depends on how light you are under the shirt, then.
Yeah. I'm super light.
But Yeah, so the flies are they're a really amazing group that really doesn't get a lot of respect. Now flies are pretty terrible in a lot of ways too, or not too. Spiders are not terrible compared to flies because flies transmit lots of diseases, things like that, but they also do a lot of really good things. But if I'm out of time, I'll just plug, spiders, if you can't see them in your house, try and just get a cup, put a piece of paper under it, throw it outside, everybody's happier. Spiders are not aggressive. They don't want to hurt you. Basically, spider bites really only happen very rarely and when it's accidental and the spider thinks it's going to die. So, it's just, I think there's a lot more fear of them than there should be, really.
Well, I am glad to know that I will not be vacuuming any cobwebs in my house anymore. You're going to cut down on my electric bill, Matt. I think that's great.
They'll make new ones.
They do, and actually, many of the spiders make a new web every day, and they'll eat their web, their old web, and then there's cobwebs like the old ones. They're dusty. There's no spider in there anymore. But other cobwebs like the active ones are usually pretty clean, and you can usually find a spider somewhere, sometimes hiding off to the side.
Yeah. So we have one of our listeners absolutely loving your presentation tonight, Matt. I mean,
well, great.
So now, tell me this, because there are some people who are uncomfortable with having spiders.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife is one of those people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we have an exterminator come in, and a lot of what he sprays is a, not to kill them, but it's a deterrent so they don't live here.
Mm.
And does the same thing for wasps around the house. And I have not had a yellow jacket or a wasp in the house, around the house, for a couple of years. Around the time when they come to build their nests, you spray something under the eaves that is like unpleasant to taste or smell for the wasps and the hornets, so they don't build nests. Do you know of any ways that you could deter if you really didn't want spiders in your house and you didn't want to kill the ones that were there? Are there any deterrents or anything you could do or put in your house to help them go find somewhere else to live?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's really difficult. Spiders aren't deterred by a lot of things, and if your house, our houses are like caves, and so a lot of the spiders that live in our homes are kind of, in the wild would be in caves or places like that where it's cool and dry. So they live in the corners, and most of the spiders in your house are, again, completely harmless. You can just catch them in something and throw them outside. A lot of the ones that run around, just good weather stripping or kind of sealing your house up a little bit more, fixing cracks and crevices can reduce the amount that get into your house. And they get in accidentally because they're running around outside, basically. So they don't really want to be in your house either. So
kind of like the neighbor kids. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, Matt, thank you very much for your time and your expertise. And I'm serious. I hope to have you back on to talk about flies and the other cool insects. It's just fascinating.
That would be a long session. I could tell you there's a lot of flies out there, but and I like to talk. So
you got it. Thanks, right, Matt. Appreciate it.
No problem. Okay.
Bob, I was amazed at how much you knew.
I know a little bit about everything.
I know you do. That's why you're on the show.
I don't know
because
how
you know a
that
little
is,
bit about.
But somehow I do.
This is why we are such a good pair, because you know a little bit about a lot of things, and I am very concentrated in my knowledge. And my knowledge happens to be things that nobody's interested in, like macroeconomics, monetary policy, those types of things. Nobody's interested in that. And you would think that, I would be popular because people like money.
Monetary policy?
Sovereign monetary policy, sovereign money systems, those types of things.
Yeah.
But I was impressed with your knowledge of spiders and them coming into the country. That was golden.
You know what Matt Bertone's going to be impressed with? Matt, because you were a guest on I Didn't Know That, you will get your very own I Didn't Know That coffee mug crafted in fine clay and then, of course, emblazoned with our I Didn't Know That logo. And it can hold more than just coffee. Heck, I use it for wine, mead now, and currently a wild berry truly.
And a couple of weeks ago, you spilled that wine all over your bowling shirt on the show.
Which the dry cleaners was able to extract peacefully.
Wow, very good.
from the bowling shirt,
Yeah.
which I was very distraught. I've had that thing for, gosh, I don't know how long, and kept it white all that time. It's amazing.
But I mean, don't you want it lived in? Don't you want some mustard stains on it and a couple of
It's
wine
kinda
stains on it?
sentimental.
Well, that's what I mean, because then you can remember. Oh, that wine got there from a show I did in 2020.
I did that one time, and I'll tell you. I'll tell you. In fact, I was in my best friend. One of my best friends got married in California, and he flew me out there, and I had a believe it or not, the reason he paid for my flight was so that way I could do a 45-second reading in his
Yeah, you're a
wedding.
minister, right?
I was qualified.
You've married
I
people.
wasn't a
Yeah.
minister then, but had I been, I would have been honored. But it was at this ranch out in Sonoma, California. Beautiful, and the caretaker of the ranch made his own wines, and he wasn't allowed to sell them. He could only serve them to the people that were there. And I had a Pinot Noir that was absolutely delicious, and I spilled some on the shirt that I really liked. And I purposely didn't get that stain out, and I wore that shirt with the stain just so I could remember how great that wine was. He would not sell me a bottle. He would not he wouldn't gift me a bottle. He's like, no, I'll get in trouble. I'm like, that's too bad, because that is delicious.
Couldn't smuggle one out or anything like that, huh?
No. Well,
So-
no, I didn't even. They wouldn't even let you touch the bottle. It was like one of those. They came out and poured it for you.
Well, because you dribbled it everywhere. Of course they're not going to. You can't be trusted with anything. You're like Ernest Biner in the playoff game with the Browns. You take them all the way down to the 1 yard line. And
Look, without Ernest Biner, they wouldn't have been at the 1 yard line. Give
That's
Ernest a
absolutely
break.
correct. I love Ernest Biner. They never should have traded him. So
Never
who's going
should have traded.
I agree with that. But
Just like anybody else that we've cast off. What do? Went to the Washington football team.
all right.
and won a
all
Super
right.
Bowl.
Now that was the Redskins at the time before they changed their name. So all right. So who do we want to have follow on Dr. Matt? I think we're going to pick on Jared because he's been performing exceptionally lately, and
And Mark
he
hasn't,
can.
So he's being punished. So,
Hey,
Hey,
Jared,
guys.
how are you?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Well, it's always a pleasure to have you on.
absolutely
I
great to see you
appreciate it.
again. Now, was my description of a mead accurate? As
It was
far
pretty
as
accurate. Yeah. Made
Okay.
from honey. And actually predates wine and beer, is
Yes.
from what I've heard and studied, predates wine and beer. And I guess there's some elements to winemaking and beer making that are kind of combined in mead.
Oh,
So
that's good. I understand that an early recipe for beer was actually a prayer. Like people said the recipe in a prayer so they wouldn't forget how to make it because they liked it so much.
I believe it. I
I
believe
read
it.
that somewhere. So yeah, I mean, hey, if you want to remember something, you might as well make it something you have to like recite. I mean, I don't know if they had rosaries back then, but go for your penance. Go out there and say 20 beer recipes.
That sounds like a great idea.
That's right. Time to confess. Let's go.
So actually, I wasn't even supposed to be here tonight. I had jury duty slated for this week, so I didn't know if I'd be even able to come on. But last minute they canceled it, so here I am. So it's great to be here with you guys.
Were you excited about jury duty?
No, not at all.
Man, I was. I got the first time in my life I got summoned for jury duty, and I couldn't wait to do it. I was so like, and maybe it's because I read so many John Grisham novels over the years, and just wanted to be part of the whole process. And of course, you call before you go in
Yeah,
because you're in Medina County, right?
yeah.
You're in Wadsworth, yeah. So
Yep.
yeah, you call the courthouse before you go, and then there's just this recorded message: all jurors serving the week of December, blah 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 through blah 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 blah. You are excused. I'm like,
Exactly. Yep.
and so you were thrilled, and I'm like, man, I wanted to
Well-
be part of a trial.
Kind of a bad time of year. Very busy with wine and beer. So
Well, I mean that's true of me any day. So
So the Boer War, Jared. The Boer
yes,
War.
That's right.
Yeah.
Back to the Boer War.
By the way, Steve Ingalls says Karaoke Bob is on fire.
I don't know how that is. You know what? I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night. That could be why that is now. It's not true. But I did get a good night's sleep. My CPAP is working just great. Thanks, Stephen.
And the Boer War.
Yeah.
The wrap up on the Boer War.
But briefly, before we get on the Boer War, Mike, have you ever had
BOERWARTHE, the Boer War.
I want to know, because we've all weighed in now. Let's finish this topic before we move on to something else. Have you ever served jury duty? What was it like? Did you ever have to be part of a trial?
No. The Boer War.
All right.
So I'm going to pick on Mike here a little bit, because last night I told him that I was available, and he said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, I want to kind of wrap up the Boer War because I missed some stuff." And he says, "Well, what more do you need to say about the Boer War?" And I said, "Well, I missed some key elements here of this event." And then he threw you under the bus, Bob, by saying that had you not spent so long about your spritzer story, I could have finished it. So he blamed you.
You know, spritzers are important.
All right. Well, real quick then, since Mike does not like this topic anymore, I'll just kind of wrap it up. So I kind of wanted to go over how the war started, how it went, and how it ended. So first thing, I think I had told you there was a lot of tension between the Dutch and the British that were there in South Africa. Another key element that I didn't get to mention was in the Transvaal and Orange Free State, where the Boers had migrated to out east from the Cape Colony. They discovered diamonds and gold. So there was probably a big effort there by the British to pursue these diamond mines and gold mines. So that's a big key element there. And
they say that there's enough diamonds that have already been mined that if they were all released at once, they'd be worthless. And that there's one big British company that holds all the diamonds back, and they only release so many each year, because there's very few companies that actually control the diamond mines. It's pretty Godfather-like, from what I understand.
I believe it. Yeah. But real quick.
Sorry, I keep interrupting. I'll go.
Mike, I know you're just chomping at the bit there, aren't you?
Absolutely. Well, we already know who won.
Who won?
The British. They always win.
Very good.
Until they came up against the United States. But go ahead, continue on.
But the Boers actually won the first multiple battles. Just beat the snot out of them until they became outnumbered, outsupplied, and that kind of changed the whole war. The Boers started using guerrilla tactics, which you're probably familiar with, kind of hit and run.
Yep.
And they raged that on for almost 2 years.
That's the way I fight, guerrilla.
Guerrilla warfare.
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely. It's the only way.
That's right. But
when I fight guerrilla warfare, I just take off my shirt and run at people.
Bob,
that will do it.
That's just a funny. That's funny to me. Sorry.
That would do it. Yeah. So that really wraps up my second Boer War information.
Excellent.
I hope people found it interesting and went out and maybe saw Breaker Morant or did a little bit of research on their own. But yeah, very interesting subject. Lots of people involved. Excellent topic. I hope people enjoyed it. So there you go.
Thank you, Jared. Excellent.
You're welcome.
As always. And where's Bob's now?
Yeah,
Going to just hide.
Right here. No,
yeah, look,
I'm right
Bob. Bob, look at this. Look at this. We got good job, Bob. That's amazing.
Told you.
And Bill Schaefer.
They want to know about spritzers, man. What can I tell you?
Bill Schaefer wrote in, I want jury duty guilty.
Yeah.
Somehow I get the feeling they'd weed him right out. There's just something that I just got a hunch that they'd take one look at Bill and say, I don't know if we want you on the jury.
And they would probably be able to tell that I wanted it too badly. And they'd be like, yeah, we don't, he's going to really pay attention. I don't want somebody that's going to be paying attention. Right,
absolutely.
So before you go, we're getting the holidays, Jared. Is there any like traditional, if you look back in history, types of wines that were brought to holiday celebrations, in maybe the early Americas, or, some good, let's celebrate, probably distance this year, but what wine should we have delivered by Instacart?
Well, yes, absolutely. So the one thing that I'm thinking of is actually a German tradition. It's called Glühwein, and I did mention it, I believe, the first time I was on the show, because Mark Seibert mentioned it in the comments. But Glühwein is a red wine base with cinnamon, clove, honey, nutmeg, kind of like they throw in with those, Christmas beers.
It's like pumpkin pie in a wine.
Yeah. You mull it on the stove, drink it warm. They do it today at all the Christmas markets in Germany, probably in Austria and Switzerland as well. So that's
missing out. They're missing out on an opportunity when you really think about it. With all the pumpkin spice craze, all they'd have to do is call pumpkin spice wine, and people would be to the front of the line. Sell it at Starbucks. It would become a huge tradition again.
Yes.
But it does sound delicious, even though it's, I jest. So, Glühwein.
Glühwein, yes.
Is it a W?
Yes, Wein.
See? Wein, because they don't have a W sound in German.
Correct.
Yeah, I knew that too. So,
Mike, he just knows everything, doesn't he?
That's what I said. He knows. He's got a very broad base of knowledge.
Yeah, but it's very shallow. It's shallow and broad.
It's mostly useless information, but it's very impressive on a show like this. Not very helpful in everyday life. But, yeah, look at that. Of course I'm right. I'm Bob. Right.
There we go.
No, actually, Bob, you never cease to amaze me. I mean, the fan love that you're getting tonight is well deserved.
Well, thank you, everyone.
As always. So, Jared, thank you very much. We are going to bring on our next guest, Mark Seibert. Jared, thanks. Mark? Hey, Mark, how are you?
The crappy
the cleanup
one.
roll. There we go. The closer.
The closer. We're going to finish strong.
Good to see you, Mark.
Well, thank you, and good show tonight. Very interesting on the spiders. I'm definitely not going to kill any of them.
Matt was great, and it's always we could have him on for hours talking, and he just
really makes
he
it
just got
interesting.
better as we went. I mean, it was just he really made it fun. He really made it interesting.
And a fantastic beard. Really
I knew
good.
you would love that beard. The moment I saw him, I knew you were going to be all over that.
I have some beard envy because of course, we know
What
what
is that
happened.
noise going on over there, Bob?
Nothing. I just had I was crushing a can.
All right. Well, Mark.
Well,
are you ready?
I'm ready. It's the holiday season, so we're very conscious of products now. And these are products, while scanning like I do, because I use my time wisely, these are products that got lost in translation. Actually, they're actual products, and they're just not as good as the original, and somewhat lost in translation. So without further ado, if you want to put up that first...
All right, hang on. I'm going to...
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Had to get some...
Nice.
Lost
in translation. Yes.
Just
that was such a fun scene in A Christmas Story. I love it when they chop the head off the duck. It's smiling at me. Whack, and they all jump.
It's just not the same. Just not the same.
Just not the same.
Right.
This
All right, so
this first
slide number
product here. Yeah. That lion thing.
Yes.
Actual product.
I am trying to do the Lion King song and a Wookiee at the same time. It's not working out as well as I hope.
No, it's working out very well, Bob.
It's just not the same. Just not the same.
And I
This
like the
product here.
mug in the corner there, Mark, how you slid the mug in there.
product placement. Product
Beautifully
placement.
done. Very
Yes.
beautifully done.
Lion thing.
Now this next clip coming up. We're all yeah. we love our action heroes.
That should be something from Austin Powers. Rando, baby.
Now this, as a kid, I liked action heroes, but
Rando.
and
Throbbing justice.
yes, but it actually throbs. If you see that, it says it actually throbs.
He really throbs.
Wow.
This next bit is on point for tonight's show. We like our action heroes.
Covered in spiders. I'm gonna stuff. Can I get that as a stocking stuffer this year?
Yes, spiders, man.
I say we're going to send that to Matt, Dr. Matt Bertone, and let him as a special gift.
And the box actually has spiders in it. With
That's fantastic.
not as good as the original. This on the theme of action heroes. This next one, which I don't condone,
The Revengers.
the Revengers. I don't know what's going on with the what is it? The Incredible.
The Incredible
Fella.
Fella.
I don't know what's going on with his hands there, but
Wait.
Incredible Fellow Smash. Doesn't have the same ring to it.
Endless tussle. I like that.
Yes.
Endless tussle.
Endless tussle.
oh, this next one here. This was actually from Korea.
Kicker.
It's yes, and then I like the take it. If you look,
Do you have to
It,
pay for
comes
that
in-
if you get that at the store? I mean, is that or is that free?
Yeah. Well, it comes in 2-finger. I actually researched this. This comes from 2-finger all the way up to 4-finger size. If you look there on the take it, it says there 2 fingers.
They take in 2 fingers to buy it, or
I don't.
is
I
it 2
don't
fingers large, or they take 2 fingers if you steal it and not pay for it?
I think that might be. That's more of the. That's probably the better angle we should take on that one.
Yeah, I'm ready to go to Hawaii and Lawson's and get these. I don't know if you've been to Lawson's in Hawaii, but that's basically everything that you
I thought
see.
they had 7-Elevens over there. That's what
They
they have
do,
over
but they
there
have-
in Asia, 7-Elevens.
And Lawson's, Ohio Lawson's, they absolutely.
Really?
And
They
it's
had
the
good
same.
chip
It's
chop
the
ham.
well, not that Lawson's. It's
Okay.
pretty much name only, logo only. It's the same. They licensed. They licensed the original Lawson's company back in the 50s or 60s. So at the time that Lawson's was big here, it was also, wait for it, big in Japan. And Lawson still exists. It's pretty common over over Japan. But when we went to Hawaii and they had the Lawsons in the hotel that we were in, I was like, chip dip. I want to get some chip dip and take it to the room. Nope, they had this, but they did not.
just
have,
not the same.
They did not have chip dip. All right, here we go.
Yes, and just not the same.
No.
Actual
Mark.
product. It's an actual product. It's just not the same though.
It's no
I wouldn't buy it.
cream betweens.
This next clip, it's this next one here. And again, not the same. That would be what was that? That would be number 8. Yeah, Frosted Flakes.
They're acceptable.
Acceptable.
Wow.
Sorry, I'm laughing
You
at
can-
my own
you
jokes
can-
tonight.
You can keep
They're
them
average.
down. You can barely keep them down. They're acceptable.
So here's a little. You want some holiday trivia for that? For they're acceptable. So they're great. The voice of Tony the Tiger was also the voice of what holiday character, Mark? It wasn't a holiday character, but a very famous holiday song associated with a very famous holiday character.
Oh.
His name was Thurl Ravenscroft.
I wouldn't have got that.
And the song that he did was You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch.
Oh.
Same
I do know
guy
the song.
was Tony the Tiger. Yeah. Same guy. How about that?
Didn't know that.
More
acceptable.
Than acceptable. So,
this one seemed like a trick to me. If you look at the first thing,
you'd think it's butter.
and then the next one, it's
Could it be butter?
Could it be butter? It's kind of a trick. Kind of a
you
just buy it,
little switch on. Yeah, I mean, I think I've seen this in Drug Mart, at least one of them.
And then this
one. Wow. Again,
what kind of shampoo do you use? Well, it's okay.
Again, with the trademark rules are different all over the world, and there's no jurisdiction over there for poor Olay that's been now just
and they get away with it.
And they get away with
it. They do. All right, this next clip here.
Oh, come on.
Now I'm kind of a classic leg man. I kind of,
yeah, I'm not sure that I like legs with ridges. So sour cream and onion legs.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this last clip, keeping on Dr. Bob.
Look at that.
Look what it says. Look what it says on there.
Open
wide,
up and
say ah.
Is that a Stop and Shop? Is Stop and Shop still a thing somewhere?
That was an actual photo of a product that it is on the shelves now. Those were all of my.
Where are Stop and Shops? Of course, Stop and Shops were very big in this area when I was young.
Yeah,
we had a Stop and Shop just
Fazio's.
down the street. It was Fazio's. Yeah, my grandmother worked at Fazio's back when I was a young whippersnapper. He worked in the photo developing part. You don't even get photos developed anymore. If you tried to get a photo developed, it's like $49 a roll. It's crazy. Mark, fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well
you
done.
Thank you. I'm sorry about that, guys. It's a family show.
It's inspiring. Show. I have to run. Almost done, babe. Sorry.
Mom, the meatloaf.
Podcast is almost over.
Hey, Mark.
Yes.
I'll have what he's having. Whatever you're drinking over there, Bob, I want it for the next show for here at the house.
Mead, right? Was it just mead?
It was
just
mead.
Mead,
yeah.
It was mead. It's just one glass.
I don't even know.
That's all you need, Bob. One glass is
That's
all
right.
you need. That's all we need is you to have one.
Just one
glass
of
mead. I don't know how you'd be with two. So, well done. And, we would like to thank everybody. Yeah, Mark, way to go. Thank you very much. Excellent. And thank you to me for getting those pictures uploaded.
Yes. 12 of them,
during the show while conducting an interview.
I did them 16.9.
Yeah, you did. Excellent.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you got Deirdre. Just like that, not seeing these gaps on the side.
Yeah, and you would think that our marketing graphic person would be able to get that 16.9, but you know, I think she was too busy giving us ideas for show material today.
She was.
That's right. No, she probably does way more for the show than I do. So I probably should just keep my yap shut. Shut your yapper. So, well, guys, wonderful show.
Yeah, we've made it.
As always, looks like we made it. Oh, that's a copyright strike. I can't do that. Sorry, Barry.
Well, I think you can sing it, but you just can't play it.
You know, these algorithms are getting pretty.
It's getting heated in here
They're
at the
on.
show, Bob.
Yeah.
Deirdre has weighed in. The Finn has heard you.
I said 16 by 9. I told Mark Seibert the exact same dimensions.
Yes.
See?
Yeah.
See how it covers the whole screen?
Yeah, I have. You know what, Bob? I've heard you say it numerous times. It pains me, but I happen to agree with Bob.
That's all right.
Yeah, sorry.
It's right, Deirdre. It's okay. I'm having fun with you.
All right. Well, Bob, you get the first word, the last words, and a lot of the middle ones. So,
well, you said
why don't
you wanted me to speak up more,
and you did what you were asked, and I appreciate everything that you do.
I just do what I'm told. So.
MVP to Bob tonight.
That's all right. Well, guys, Mark, good to see you again. Good to see the
Thank you.
professor, Jared Gray. As always, Mike Stouffer, good to see you. And then also, learning why spiders should be our friends. I always kind of knew that was how it was supposed to go, but thanks to Dr. Matt Bertone and his amazing beard for joining us tonight on another episode of I Didn't Know That. And we'll be back here next week with another scintillating episode with who knows what, and who knows what I'll be drinking. Maybe some more mead. We have no idea. So thanks once again, Stouffer Mortgage, Deirdre. Thanks for all the graphics, even though we're working on the dimensions, but we'll get it, and we'll see you back here Tuesday night for I Didn't Know That. Have a good night, everybody.